Test 1, 2. Da, 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 da. Good evening, everybody. How are you on this wonderful Christmas Eve? Welcome, family and friends. We're gonna have an open stage tonight for people to come up and sing or tell stories or read poems, tell us about your favorite Christmas, share memories, whatever. This is a night to just gather and be together and have some fun. And we're going to start with what has become a tradition, and that is a story from my mother reading The Night Before Christmas. So welcome Lucy Oakes.
Somebody will have to help me get down when it's time.
I'll be right here.
Yeah, don't run off. It's dangerous. When I was a little girl, I lived on a farm. And we really didn't have a whole lot of heat in the house back then. We used fireplaces or had fireplaces and had little stoves in one room, and you'd go get up in the mornings and you'd go into that room and you'd get dressed and where it was warm. And then you'd go into the other warm room in the house, which was the kitchen, and have something to eat and put on 14 layers of clothes and walk to school. But in Christmas at my house, when I was growing up, I was actually brought up to think that Santa brought the Christmas tree and everything. And so I would go to bed at night, and they put us to bed very early in the evening. Of course, you know how dark it gets. It did back in Kentucky, too. So they'd put us to bed very early. My brother and I shared a room. And he would be telling me all the time that what was and what wasn't, and that Mom and Dad were putting up the Christmas tree. And I said, no, they're not. No, they're not. Santa brings the Christmas tree. And so one night he marched me across the hallway and had me look through the keyhole so I could see what was going on. It was a very rude awakening. It just broke my heart, like it does every person, you know, who has to go through that. But anyway, it was very, very fun, and we'd get up the next morning and we'd go into the Christmas tree, which would be one of the other rooms that we could have heat in if we really needed it, and open our Christmas packages. And, of course, then we'd have our Christmas dinner and everything. Everything on the farm was grown on the farm, so whatever we ate had been canned in the summer, and even the pigs were ours and were slaughtered. So it was a fun time, and I look back at it with wonderful memories now. As I recall, as a child, I nearly froze to death all winter long. But when I look back now, none of that matters because I'm still here. But anyway, I'm going to read you this wonderful story that you all have never heard before, called The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore. My husband says he can do this by heart, recite it by heart. And I think that's wonderful. But they asked me to do it. That's bad, huh? Isn't that the wonderful Christmas spirit? But anyway, I'm the entertainer, the actress, or whatever, so I'm going to try to read this and see this and all this, that, and other, and make it most enjoyable for you. And I'm sure that none of you have never heard this story before, right? Do I see any hands? Oh, well, maybe you don't have it memorized. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. Ma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Way to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of middays to objects below, when what in my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. And with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his couriers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dancer, Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricanes fly, when they meet with the obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a band. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his toe, to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. And you can see I don't know this by heart. All right. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. And I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Thanks, Mom. That was beautiful. Had anybody ever heard that? Had you ever heard that story before? I'm going to sing you maybe the only Christmas song I know, and I think I only know this song because Springsteen did a cover of it. Well, you better not pout, you better not cry, you better not shout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's been naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Going to open up the stage now and basically leave it open. Anybody that wants to tell a story, sing a song, spread some thoughts, come on up. And it looks like my father wants to be first in line for that. Come on up, Dad.
I want to tell you the story of the cremation of Sam McGee. Most people don't think of it as a Christmas story, but it actually begins on Christmas Day. There's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows, and why he left his home in the South to roam around the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. I have forgotten the next stanza. Anyhow, that very night as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, he looked at me and, Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. But if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he looked so low that I couldn't say no, and he said with a sort of a moan, it's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet 'tain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that, foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. Well, he looked so low that I couldn't say no. We started on a streak of dawn. Gad, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on his sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. By nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavier and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low, till I came to the marge of Lake LaBarge, and a derelict there lay. She was jammed in the ice, but I saw it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum, and here I said with a sudden cry, it's my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. And the flames just soared, and the furnace roared. Such a blaze you seldom see. Then I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I took a hike, 'cause I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke and an inky cloak was streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear. But the stars came out, and they danced about. Ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a look inside. I guess he's cooked. It's time I looked, and the door I opened wide, and there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see a mile, and he said, please shut that door. It's warm in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and the storm. Since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first time that I've been warm. Yes, there's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Huh?
Do you remember your poem about getting married?
Yeah, I was going to say that for Valentine's, but I could do it. I've got a host of memories embroidered on my brain, and looking at them makes me wish that I was young again. The district school lay down the lane to which I used to go, and the feelings I had when I found out my mustache was going to grow. And the big protracted meetings and the spelling schools and all, and the highfalutin fun that we had at the Huskins in the fall. But there's one special memory I never can forget about the time that I play acted Romeo and Jane was Juliet. A troupe of real play actors had come to Milton in the hack. And finding there a tavern, they talked to hoofing of it back. But Pat planned if they come to our house, he might make out to feed 'em decent and keep 'em overnight. They fixed the schoolhouse mighty purty with striped calico, and everybody allowed 'twas going to be a really master show. And just for helping them tote their baggage down the lane, I got permission tickets, one for me and one for Jane. 'Twas Romeo and Juliet they acted, and I swear some of their predicaments had raised a body's hair. And me and Jane just sat there saying, mercy and good lands. And every time they'd hug and kiss, we'd squeeze each other's hands. Well, every nerve about me seemed just like a squeaky shoe. Jane, she lied while walking home. She felt just that way, too. Her house joined ours, and Ma'am said she couldn't see no sense in us talking there for hours across the backyard fence. But we didn't pay no attention. We just let them scold and fret. And we thought of nothing else but Romeo and Juliet. The coming Sunday evening, Jane says, suppose we try to act. A pleasing proposition, I said, but pleasing proposition, but I don't know what I'll wear. She said she had a plan for putting things to rights. She'd get her pap's best cotton drawers for me to wear for tights. And she had a Christmas gift that she got from her brother John that looked just as pretty as the dress that Juliet had on. So into the sitting room I went, and Jane, she went to hern. The sleeping old folks was unawares of what was then occurring, and into them cotton drawers I slid, just as easy as you please. About a mile too big for me and baggy in the knees. Then I twined a comfort round my waist to represent a sash, and I tied a handkerchief on my head that cost $1 cash. And then looking in the mirror, the figure that I see looked just about half like Romeo and half like me. I sneaked back to the kitchen, and there stood Jane, as white as any ghost that ever walked a graveyard after night. Her calico dress was mighty nice, without a spot or speck, all fringed around the downstairs part and embroidered around the neck. "Oh, Romeo," she sort of squawked. Her eyes turned wrong side out. "My all-consuming love for you, how can you ever doubt?" "I've nary a doubt," I said, and I put one arm a waist around. T'other hand was keeping them darn drawers from falling down. Then we sot up 3 kitchen chairs for sort of a balcony, and Jane got up for to make love down to me. And leaning over for about the 27th kiss, she lost her equilibrium in thinking of her bliss. There come an awful crash, and I knocked down her mother's rocking chair. And Jane stood on her head, a-kicking in the air. And in the midst of the confusion came her pa's arousing shout, "I'd like to know what in the blank that noise were all about." Then her ma and pa come running in, dressed about the same as us, with eyes like Chinese sassers a-staring at the muss. And while Jane jumped the window in the effort to retreat, I scooted to t'other room with them drawers around my feet. Next day, the old man come to me with thunder on his brow, grabbed me underneath the chin. He said he allowed us how I better get a license and square the thing up right. So me and Jane were married the coming Sunday night. This happened 60 years ago. We're old and steady now, and I'm gray and getting bald, and Jane has wrinkles on her brow. But I've a host of memories embroidered on my brain, and looking at them makes me wish that I was young again. But when I mention one of them, Jane says we're too old to think about our youthful tricks. But when I mention one of them, it starts her laughing yet. About the time that I play-acted Romeo, and she was Juliet.
And it just goes from oaks to oaks to oaks. So I'm hoping after this it'll go to somebody else with a different last name. But real quick, let's clap for Mom. Lucy Oaks and Willie Oaks. Can I you want to tell the story about the poem? Do you want me to bring the microphone to you? I'll do my thing, and then you do your thing. And then we're going to do a thing and thing. All right, sounds like a deal. Dad's going to tell us the story of that poem in a little bit. Hang on real quick. I thought I would jump on up here. And, every year, I'm pretty sure I haven't missed a year. Every year since SoulFoods came to this location, I've been getting up and singing this one particular song every holiday season. And when I was growing up, I was in Seattle Girls Choir. And so my biggest memories of Christmas and this time of year were rehearsing and my poor parents driving me all over the place so that I could be in different shows all over King County. And we would sing in this church in Seattle on Madison. And there were so many beautiful songs that we sang, but one that really stood out to me was the one I'm going to share with you in a minute, and it's a Hanukkah song, and it's got to be the sweetest prayer I've ever heard, and it's the sweetest wish I've ever heard. And so every year I think, well, maybe this year I'm going to think of a different song to share, and I never do, because you know, you don't have to fix something if it's not broken. But every year I have a hard time getting through it because it is such a sweet wish. So I always have to write some of the words down so that I don't get all verklempt and forget where I'm at. But this song is called Feast of Lights, and it is my wish for all of you and for the folks who are out there in my life who aren't here tonight, and just actually the world. May your days and nights be a feast of lights. The eternal flame may it glow in you, and the Holy One may he know in you only love. May the light of peace shine and never cease, and the glow of wisdom illumine you. May you never hate, though it's human too. May you know love. May you go through life with your head up to the sky. May you never walk in shame, in sight of the light of the one who has no name. This I wish for you. May your days and nights be a feast of lights, with a hope for all of humanity. For without it life is but vanity. May you know love. May you have faith, and may you have strength, and may the Lord grant your life will have length. May it be sweet, yet strong. May your days and nights be a feast of lights, your whole life long. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Merry, happy, happy, happy. Whatever it is that you're merry and happy about. Merry, merry, happy. And thanks for being here tonight. And I hope some of you will hop up and share your stories and share your songs and share your poems and maybe just share your wish for the year, because this is your time to do it here on the stage.
I've already shared with you the cremation of Sam McGee. I once checked out a library book when I was in college to learn the shooting of Dan McGrew. I still only know about half of the shooting of Dan McGrew, but in that book I found this Romeo and Juliet piece that I just recited for you. And I had been out hitchhiking one weekend, and I got back to, I was dropped off at the Beltway around Lexington at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. It was pitch black and pouring rain. I walked 4 miles home in the rain, and as I walked, I started visualizing this poem that I just read to you, Romeo and Juliet. And at the time, I could visualize where each stanza was on the page. I don't think I can do that anymore, but anyhow, as I walked along for 4 miles, I began to recite this poem that I had seen. And by the time I got home, I knew it as well as I've told it to you tonight.
So for those of you who know me, this is my third year of coming up with something that I like better than a Christmas card I've ever found, which is why I decided to create my own Christmas wish every year. And it's just been a joy to do this year, especially since I've had the last 5 months to spend every day with my lovely mother, who's over there, who unfortunately can't hear me right now. So she's reading this while I'm reading it to you. It's called Wishes. My wish is that you find peace. My wish is that you realize you truly make a difference. My wish is that you discover more bright moments along your path. My wish is that you experience your beauty through the eyes of those who love you. My wish for you is laughter and celebration. My wish is that you really know that you have brightened the light in my life. And my final wish this season is that you find love, light, and fulfillment the remainder of your days. Thank you.
Okay. Oh. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Woo, we made it. Yeah. Well, I just kind of feel like telling a little bit of a story. When I was growing up, we were really poor for not forever, but from about the time I was 5 until about 9. And my mom would start getting ready for Christmas like around July so that we would have something. And every year, when we woke up in the morning, it was abundance. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't great, but for a little kid, I was always so surprised that she could make it such a beautiful holiday. And I know lots of people who they don't like Christmas and because things have happened, and I'm really grateful that I love it. I love it the whole time. I could listen to Christmas music for about 2 weeks. Yeah. And so I have a sweatshirt that anytime I wear it around the house, it's called the 12 Days of Espresso. And Samuel wants me to sing it to him. So since he can't be here today, I thought that I would sing it for you. Yay. Oh, this is so fun. A cappella, right? Okay. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 grande double Americanos with extra whipped cream, 11 breve mochas with a dash of nutmeg, 10 non-fate lattes with an extra shot, 9 short mochas with foam, 8 skinny double mochas, 7 non-fat single lattes, 6 single Americanos, 5 iced mochas. That's my favorite part. 4 cappuccinos, 3 espressos, 2 mochas, and a latte in a tree. Yay! Okay, would anybody else like to share anything? I've wanted to do that for 3 years, and so I finally did it. Well, no, God, no, we would be here all night. So I think you guys are all very grateful that I did not sing it like that, I'm sure. But oh, thank you. I don't know any Christmas songs, really. No. Oh, wow. The pressure. God, they're a hard group. This is old Kevin's family's right here. Oh yeah, I love that. You guys are really good. Would any? I'm going to leave the stage now for.
I only know the one Christmas song. No, it doesn't. I was going to do one later. Would anybody else like to jump on stage, share anything, share some thoughts, share a poem, do some improv comedy? I'm trying to cue my brother. All right. Dad's going to steal the show tonight. Come on up, Dad.
My father died in April when I was 5 years old, and we moved in with my grandparents, my mother, my 2 sisters, and I, and they had a house with an L-shaped porch, and the front door was on one end of the L. The other end of the L was my Uncle Milton's bedroom, and that night there would come a knock or a doorbell, and we'd go to the door and open it, and here'd be something marvelous, a little table and chairs or some kind of toy. And then we'd bring it in, and then miraculously the doorbell would ring again. And we'd go to the door, and here was something else. It went on and on and on and on. It was the biggest Christmas I ever experienced in my whole life. I know now that my Uncle Milton was Santa Claus, because he could come out of his bedroom, come around the L, and leave the gift on the doorstep and ring the doorbell and then disappear. But it was the biggest Christmas I ever had in my whole life.
So for now, I'm just going to leave the stage open. I'll put some music on and everybody visit for a bit. And if you get inspired and you want to come on up and say something, sing something, give us a poem, give us a story, just come tap me on the shoulder. We'll be here till 9 tonight.